Duckboat Dispatch, episode number 57. Some changes going on right now. We have a new intro bed right here. Shout out Bobby Flux on the beat. Figured it was about time. A little over a year using the old one. Switch things up a little bit. And if you were wondering how old this was, and not judging Bobby at all, I love it. I appreciate it. It's great. Exactly what I was looking for. It is called Ball is Life, is what he called the bed. So I'm imagining he made this circa 2016, is my imagine. So 10-year-old music bed from Bobby right there. Fits the job perfectly. Josh is here.
He definitely just has a folder of just like random beds like that he just doesn't use. He's like, I'm just going to give Tom one of these.
I literally texted him. I was like, if you have any old music beds you don't have any purpose for, just throw them my way. So he sent me a folder of a bunch of them, and this was the one I liked the most. So shout out Bobby on that. Josh is here. Sarah's not here. I am here. But we still got a lot to get to. We didn't get in last week, sadly. Things didn't line up for us to come in and record. We got to talk about LeBron to Philly. We got to talk about first few practices of Patriots training camp. The pads came on today. And every single year I say I'm not going to fall for training camp reports, but I'm already falling for some training camp reports, Josh. But let's start with the big team right now, the team that's actually playing, the team that is 22-4 in the month of July, I want to say, Josh. They're 20 and something, and it's 20 wins, which is incredible for the Boston Red Sox. They have made a miraculous turnaround in the month of July, and they're not squandering it because they're being aggressive at the deadline. And we'll get into that kind of early for Curtis Mead trade, Josh. But again, it is just a historic comeback that cannot be understated. It cannot be oversaid how miraculous this comeback and this turnaround has been from the Boston Red Sox, not the Boston Celtics. And it's just a shame because that early from Mead trade, which we'll get into from a little bit more baseball's perspective, but just from 1,000 feet away, I liked the trade, Josh. Maybe it was an overpay, but it filled a need. And it showed to me that they cared because this was 8 days before the deadline, and I feel like the past 3 years, every deadline move the Red Sox have made has been 24 hours before the deadline has taken place, and it's been a pivot move. It's been, oh crap, we missed out on Joe Ryan like last year. What are we going to get now? And it's just a bunch of crap. So right off the rip, I was happy about that.
I don't think it was really that much of an overpay. I think people see it as an overpay because they saw some young stud that they really like who does have potential to be something spectacular in the future. But the Red Sox still have that on this team. They still have a ton of other young guys, and I think they could afford to give up one of those young pieces for an actual bat. Because now with this turnaround, you're now in the competing zone. You're not just, we need to sell by the deadline and trade everyone. You're now in the buy now, and you're in the contending. So I think you can afford to not only move a pitcher, but also move a young guy in order to get a guy who can bat and potentially do something into the postseason and the rest of the season. And again, you can afford it. You still have Peyton Tolley, who's a very young pitcher, who's been, I think, aside from him and Jake Bennett, have been absolutely spectacular. I think I'll take Tolley over Bennett. I think Tolley's been the best kind of young pitcher we have. So if you had to ask me to give up Connolly or Tolley, I'd give up Connolly over Tolley in my opinion. But again, it's not like you gut-wrench your entire young core. You still have a complete young core. You were just able to take one piece and turn it into a win-now move.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd call it a win-now move. It's just we needed this. Like the team needed a middle infielder with some thump.
I say it's a win-now move because now that after this turnaround, you're now competing, and the biggest issue on your team is the batting, and so that's why I'm saying it's a win-now move.
Instead of them selling, I see what you're saying.
Exactly. So like if they didn't do it, then okay, you're heading past the trade deadline without a bat. You're heading into the postseason without a true bat. Now that we haven't even seen Roman Anthony at all this season, so we don't even know what's up with him. And so now you're missing a bat.
I know it is a small sample size of him playing really well this year. He's a guy who's been on 3 or 4 MLB teams in his very short career, but he has a ton of team control left on him. He's got like 5 years of team control left on him. He's batting .256 in the season, so he already coming in was your second best hitter. And then he comes to a ballpark like Fenway, which is very favorable for his spray chart if you look on Fangraphs and where he lifts the ball and how he pulls it, this and that, and all like the really nerdy baseball things. And then he goes out and gets injured in his second at bat, which just stinks. So he's out 6 to 8 weeks, and I don't know how much I trust that report from the Red Sox because their medical staff has just been horrible this season. Like, they look at an X-ray and they're looking at the wrong, like, they're trying to read hieroglyphics with these X-rays, I feel, Josh. I want to be optimistic and hopeful that, 6 to 8 weeks, he could be back before the playoffs and like 4 playoff run. But it's like, damn, like you have been wrong with almost every single injury so far this season. Like, how am I supposed to trust that report?
They remind me of the COVID reports with these injuries. It's like, okay, with Roman, Crochet, and even Curtis Mead now, it's like, oh, okay, they'll be out, give or take 2 to 4 weeks. They'll be back soon. It's not that bad. Now it's like, we have no time period on anyone, really. We have no idea if Roman will be back. Little to no idea if Crochet will be back. And now Curtis Mead is now in that conversation. So we were told it's going to be short term. We were told these injuries weren't that bad. And now, Roman Anthony has a tear in his hand, and Curtis Mead doesn't have a sprain. Or not a sprain. He doesn't just have a sore hand. He has a little broken wrist on that. And Garrett Crochet has a lat injury. So it went from, all right, it's not that bad, it's just a boo-boo, to, oh yeah, no, they're in the hospital.
Yeah, it always goes from, oh, it's okay, like 10 to 15 day IL stint, and they'll be back, and then it's actually, this was worst case scenario. I mean, Roman Anthony still hasn't even swing a bat, Josh. And he's been out since early May, late April.
Yeah,
I want to say
Florida.
He's been out forever. I can't remember the last time I even saw Roman Anthony at the plate. It's been forever for Roman Anthony. So it's just, how much can we trust that training staff? And again, it just comes back to, it stinks because whether you think it's an overpay, it's exactly what they needed. They needed a right-handed bat with some power, and they needed a middle infielder because Trevor Story and Meyer are both injured. So you've been platooning with guys like Monasterio, Siegler, and Chang out there. So it really filled a need. You got an everyday second baseman. Like, yeah, he's not great defensively by any metrics, but he can hit the ball, and that's what you needed from that position. And it's more than you're getting from both Meyer and Trevor Story in those middle infield slots. So it just stinks because, yeah, they were still aggressive and being aggressive in the market before and after the trade. But now it's almost like, oh, great, to go get another one of these. It wasn't just, to go find a shortstop. Like, they've been really invested in, through all reports, looking to find a shortstop to fill in for, to go in and grab. It's like, okay, well, now we need another guy. And maybe they think, okay, we can platoon guys like Monasterio, Chen, maybe bring Siegler back up and run a rotation of those guys and platoon them depending on, lefty-righty matchups, things like that stuff that, Tracy's really good at playing with. And we get a shortstop and hope he comes back. Or it's, we don't really know when he's going to come back, and we go in and get another one. And we have to throw and spend another young arm or, another young prospect to go out and get a bat that you are a position of need that you've already filled. So it just stinks in that aspect because this was the first, good-ish to good move Breslow's made at the deadline. And within 24 hours of it happening, it was already just going downhill because of an injury, which you can't predict, obviously. So now Breslow's got to get back in that batter's box, back on the phone, and go and find another, right-handed bat with some thump, I think. I think you have to go and find a way to replace this.
And it changes the direction, too. Again, like you just said, you have to find a bat and potentially a shortstop, even maybe a catcher if you want to. So I do agree that the Red Sox and Craig Breslow will continue to be aggressive on the deadline, and they'll look for guys like that. The question is, what does the direction of what you're going to include in those trades now change? Because maybe you don't give up as much for other players and other pieces, but now that you just lost Curtis Mead and now you have to fill in another spot, does that now force you to have to give up more for the other guys? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I see it's more like, okay, we already gave up early for a second baseman with some thump. Do we have to go give up totally now to replace the guy we've already replaced?
That's the thing. Are we, like I said, we didn't gut wrench our young core for Curtis Mead. Are we going to start doing that now for other pieces to potentially contend for this Red Sox team? Are we going to see guys like Tolley on the line, Marcelo Meyer on the line, Roman Anthony on the line? Are we going to see these young prospects, whether they're playing or not, are we going to see them more in rumors and trade talks and especially on the table than we usually do?
I think you'll see Marcelo Meyer regardless of before or after the injury. I think Meyer's kind of cooked, honestly. I think that his time as a Red Sox is over. He hasn't performed the way they wanted him to. There's been a bunch of reports that people within the clubhouse think he's kind of soft, not willing to play through any sort of injuries. Like, he has to be perfect to play baseball and can't play through any bumps or bruises. And I think the big thing is people think that he's a bad influence on Roman Anthony, and that's the guy that they built up to be the franchise. So I don't think you can give up on Anthony just yet after a really bad, he wasn't playing good before the injury, and now he's injured and can't find a way back on the baseball diamond. So like obviously that stinks. Like, but it's been a bad year for Roman Anthony, regardless of the injury or not. Like it just he hasn't been playing, so it's bad. And then when he was playing, it was bad. You can't tell me this hasn't been a horrible failure of a year for Roman Anthony, especially after what we saw from him last season, the glimpses we saw, and then in the WBC he was electric. And then he comes out and puts up a stinker for the Boston Red Sox, and now he's not even playing. And now it's, is he soft? Does he want to play? Oh, well, he's injured, but you can see him out of the town at, your local pubs late at night with Marcelo Meyer. I think they want to kind of separate him, and hopefully they're like, ooh, now that Meyer's not there, we can get the best version of Roman Anthony, which is one thing itself, like locker room, clubhouse vibes, making sure, he's not distracted by another player. But also, like, Meyer just hasn't been that good. So maybe you put him in a package and you can increase the value of the package. I don't think you can move him 1-for-1 like it was where it was Connolly early for Mead. I think he'll be in some sort of package with like other prospects and maybe hopefully Jarren Duran. One guy can hope that they get rid of Jarren Duran at this deadline. Like fingers crossed, pretty please. Can I wish upon a star to get rid of Jarren Duran? I can't stand him as a ball player. I think he's batting 192 right now, so can't give up that. Like, get a good series against the Blue Jays, but you can't give up guys batting 192. But I think he's done. I really think he's done. If you're targeting a shortstop, and the shortstop names are all like guys with thump, guys who play the position well, and guys who have like long-term control, to me that says they don't believe in Marcelo Meyer anymore. Unless they really are like, he can play second base, he can go play third base, or he can platoon in some sense like that. If you're going to find a guy who's playing his natural position, to me it says they don't believe in him anymore.
I could see a world where they keep him. My philosophy or my thinking is that I think teams may come to the Boston Red Sox and ask for Roman Anthony, but I don't think the Red Sox are done with Roman Anthony. I don't think Roman Anthony gets moved, honestly. I think he stays here. So I see them flipping Roman Anthony for Marcelo Meyer, if that makes sense. I could see a team being like, hey, we'll give you this player. Just give us Roman Anthony. Be like, yeah, I can't do Roman Anthony, but we can give you this other young prospect, that being Marcelo Meyer. So the fact, just to give them a young prospect, but in return, you're also getting someone solidified as well. If you ask me, out of the young guys, Tolley, Roman, Marcelo Meyer, I mean, yeah, I'm throwing Marcelo Meyer in there. If you told me I had to pick one of them to ship out for a right-handed bat, or a shortstop or a catcher, I'm taking Marcelo Meyer and I'm sending him. And the off the field stuff, I think, is a factor. I mean, you're telling me that you have people in the clubhouse saying that Marcelo Meyer is a little bit of a distraction of Roman Anthony. If you can't solve that, or you can't get these two to focus on the actual game, instead they're just gonna. I mean, I know they're injured right now, but if they're not going to focus on the game and just go spending nights out, then. Yeah, if you're not focusing, you gotta send them out of here. You have to. You have to. If you're not getting the production on the field, all this off the field stuff doesn't matter, and you shouldn't be doing it. That's how it works. If you're not winning and producing good, you shouldn't be doing the stuff you're doing off the field.
Would you be willing to take calls on Roman Anthony? Because
yes.
I think I would take calls. Like, you would need to give me it'd have to be Bobby Witt Jr. for Roman Anthony. And obviously it's on a 1-for-1. You're giving up like literally like Roman Anthony, Meyer, like Franklin Arias, like 3 other prospects, probably like Tolley to get Bobby Witt. But I would I would absolutely think about it.
Do I think the Red Sox and Craig Breslow are shopping Roman Anthony? No. But if Craig Breslow gets a call from so-and-so being like, hey, we'll give you the right package for Roman Anthony, I don't think Craig Breslow's just hang up the phone immediately. I don't think Roman Anthony's untouchable. I don't think he'll get moved because I think he's a little bit more stiff to move than the other guys. But I don't think Craig Breslow's going to hang up the phone. I think he is 100% open to hearing calls for Roman Anthony. And that's not just like a Roman Anthony thing. That's just for anyone. There's a price to anyone. You can give up the right price for any player in any league, really. If you give up the right price, you can get the prize that you want.
Yeah, and I think that there's like very few major leaguers I would move Anthony for. I think Bobby Witt is obviously one of them. With Meyer, if someone calls on Meyer, I would actively be shopping Meyer if I was Craig Breslow.
That's the difference between the two. I think they're not shopping Roman Anthony. I think they're shopping Marcelo Meyer.
Absolutely. I think he's absolutely being shopped around. I wouldn't think twice about trading Marcelo Meyer for the right piece. I would be very cautious of trading Roman Anthony because that is the guy, like, you built him as the franchise. Like, you saw him in the WBC. He was the next big thing. I don't know if you want to give up on that after one, like objectively horrible year for Roman Anthony. On the field, off the field, whatever it may be, like, really bad year for Roman Anthony. He just hasn't been able to play. And then on top of that, when he was playing, he was terrible. So I don't know if I'm willing to give up on him just yet because I think the upside for him is still so high.
I'm really not either. But again, our call is open to both those guys, absolutely. But I think Craig Breslow is more willing to move Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I don't think Roman Anthony's untouchable. You can give me the right price for him. I'll move him.
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
We've said before, going to a different league, we would give up Jason Tatum for Victor Wembanyama. There's a price to everyone.
Yeah, everybody's movable. You can move. Everybody has some sort of price.
Unless
for the right price, I would move Anthony, but I would think long and hard about it.
Unless you were the best player in your league, in your prime, who's like, no one's untouchable, really, if we're being completely honest. In a realistic world, no one's untouchable.
And speaking of Tatum, I didn't want to get into this, but since you mentioned it, you saw his comments from last weekend at that camp. I took it as a very clear shot at Jaylen Brown. I don't know how you took it. I thought it was clear as day a shot at Jaylen Brown, and I think I know the whole time in real time, I was very like, they're not best friends, but there's no like beef behind the scenes. I've done a complete 180. I think the relationship really was that bad behind the scenes at this point. I think there was genuine like dysfunction between those two off the court.
I believe if there was some drive or a narrative kind of hidden within those comments, here's why I don't think it was a fully like Tatum was taking a shot at Brown. Because you're telling me that Jason Tatum walked into a children's summer camp and was like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to take a shot at Jaylen Brown right here in front of these children. No, I don't think Tatum's also the type of guy to do that. To go up to children and make a passive aggressive comment about an ex-teammate. Was there maybe some drive to it? Yes. Maybe was there a little bit of oomph maybe with that Jaylen Brown with relating it to Jaylen Brown? Maybe. But I don't think Jason Tatum walked into, what is it, a gymnasium he was in? I don't think Jason Tatum walked into that gymnasium being like, man, I'm going to tell all these kids how much I dislike Jaylen Brown. I'm going to make all these passive-aggressive comments to all these children. Like, that's just not the type of place I think you do that in. I think if you were to make a passive-aggressive comment and wanted it to be heard, you do it on an interview. You do it on a national show. You do it on social media. I don't think you do it in front of children. So do I see it as a direct shot at Brown? No. But was there a little bit of sprinkling in there? Yeah, sure.
So I will give you, it would be a weird place for him to take a shot at Jaylen Brown. Like,
Jason Tatum's also not the person to, we know Jason Tatum. He goes with the flow. He's not the type of person to stir up drama. So you really think he's going to do it in front of children?
But it's just like, you hear it and you read the comments and you can't help but see him talking to Jaylen Brown. And I'm gonna read the quote right here from it. Being around somebody that feels like they know it all. I don't want to be around that person. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to learn from somebody else. Like the smartest person in the room, being around somebody that feels like they know it all. Those are absolutely words to Jaylen Brown. Like, Jaylen Brown probably was the smartest person in the room. Like, he is an incredibly intelligent guy. But there's a difference between being incredibly intelligent and being a know-it-all and thinking you know it all. And Jaylen Brown, to me, and I hate this because I hate smearing an athlete on the way out, like, especially because I love Jaylen Brown. Would I put him more in that feels like he knows it all type of category from what we know about Jaylen Brown? Yeah, I think I would at this point. Like, he thinks he is better than Jason Tatum. He thinks he's the best two-way player in the world. He thinks that, or he feels that this was his favorite season because it was finally his team. So yeah, I think this was Tatum taking a little bit of a volley back at Jaylen Brown. And I think it absolutely is a weird place to do it when he's been asked at the ESPYs, he's been asked somewhere else, he was asked about it. And he was like, it's weird not having him on my team. Or maybe like his social media post he put out there was like, I appreciate all the time with you. And, we always will be champions together. So, like, yeah, it's a weird place to take a shot, but it's a shot nonetheless in my eyes, Josh. You can't tell me this is not a shot. Like, leader, smartest guy in the room, like, those are all words people have used to describe Jaylen Brown. And I think it really gives us a little light into there being genuine dysfunction behind the scenes between these two.
I'm behind that the relationship wasn't no pitch perfect. I do think there was I mean they're two very similar players. They have very similar play styles. And so I think
But
that's
not
kind
even
of
pitch perfect. Like we would go to war. Like you could go back 6 months and find us talking about Tatum and Brown and saying there's no problem. The Jays can coexist. This and that. We were wrong about that, Josh. Like there was very clearly a problem behind the scenes. Like
there
very clearly.
there was. I don't think again, I don't think the relationship was perfect. I think there maybe was
But
some
no,
little
there's
putting
a
of
difference
head.
between it not being perfect and there being legitimate dysfunction. I'm at the point where I'm seeing this dysfunction. Like, yeah, no relationship is perfect 24/7. Like
I need
Tatum and Derek White are obviously best friends. Like Tatum and Brown never had that relationship, but there is dysfunction. Like there is genuine issues between those two. I think now.
But since he's off the team now, don't you think Jaylen Brown would say something about Tatum at this point?
I really do think we're gonna get a volley back from Brown
That's the
shortly.
thing. Like,
I
don't
don't
you
know
think
when, but I think we will.
with Jaylen Brown's streams and him being such a vocal person when it comes to speaking his truth, like he even did it with Stephen A. Smith. He did not hold back when it came to Stephen A. Smith dissing him. So if this was a actual shot at Jaylen Brown and there was dysfunction between the two, now that Jaylen Brown is on a different team, and not to mention the biggest rival of the Celtics for the past decade, don't you think Jaylen Brown would come out and say something at this point, considering that he also said on iShow's Speed Stream during the World Cup that there's no loyalty? So if he's not willing to hold back against the Celtics front office and the ownership, what makes you think he would hold back against Tatum? So I think I'm not going to say there's dysfunction unless I literally hear one of the two put the other one's name in their mouth or on a post and say something dysfunctional about them.
I mean, I'm way past that. I think the volley will come back from on his next Twitch stream because I think he's a very smart guy. Like I'm not denying it. Like he probably knows like, ooh, this is people are gonna be tuning in to see if I take a shot back at Jason Tatum, and I think he will take a shot at Jason Tatum whenever he does his next Twitch stream. And it makes me wonder to like on the court if they were to like, was it the whole time? Did it develop recently? Was it more of these like was it this past season that really created the divide between them behind the scenes? Because if it's been the whole time, or at least let's say 5 years, like that's still within the championship window when they went to 2 finals and they lost one and won one. If the Celtics can win an NBA championship while their best two players have like genuine beef, I'm very confident going into the season. Like if Tatum was able to do what he was doing on the court while putting up with Jaylen Brown, like behind the scenes, like the dysfunction they had off the court, I am very excited to see what Tatum can do this year when he has like free flowing, doesn't have to worry about this BS, all this drama going on in the locker room and stuff. I'm very excited, and I don't think it was that. I'm just where it was for years they couldn't get along. I think it was a very recent development. I think it was the comments that Jaylen Brown had made about this being his favorite season, him reposting all the stats of like this year and last year. Look at the stats, look at how they're better this year without Tatum, and calling himself the best two-way player, yada yada, all the things that he was doing this year that could have been interpreted as like pot shots at Jason Tatum. I think Tatum took them as pot shots. I think it really offended him, and I think that's why Jaylen Brown's one no longer here, two why he made this comment this past weekend.
Can I throw out a crazy name who Jason Tatum might be referring to? What if the smartest person in the room is Kyrie Irving?
Like, don't get it twisted. Kyrie Irving is absolutely a guy who thinks he's the smartest person.
I'm saying it's a crazy idea, but wasn't that also kind of Kyrie's, whole shtick that other people were pitting against him, like the smartest guy in the room, this like guy who would go out, learn new philosophies, try to be smarter, better than everyone else, and then it wasn't that also the reason why he
yes, but the issue with Kyrie was so much more on the court. It was because he missed that playoff run, and all the young guys, Tatum, Brown, Rozier. I mean, that was the Shane Larkin year where he was popping off in the playoffs. Like, and then you bring back Kyrie, you bring back Gordon Hayward, you bring in like a Marcus Morris, whoever the hell it was, and they were the vets. They thought they wanted the ball, and they thought it should be their team. But Tatum and Brown were like, hey, we just brought this team to a Game 7 against LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, we're the young pups. That should be our team now. We want the ball. That's more what the Kyrie Irving issue was. It was like he became kind of a douche afterwards, I think, with all
I'm not saying it is him or it was him. Obviously, we don't have proof on who it was, but you're telling me it's off the table for Kyrie Irving?
I think off the table. I think it could be multiple people, but I think with the words that he used and the timing of it, I think it was absolutely him talking about Jaylen Brown.
Well, yeah, of course, with the timing and the words, that Stephen A. Smith even called him the smartest person in the room. I think obviously people are going to speculate to Jaylen Brown, but with that narrative that you were talking about, with that second year of Kyrie Irving coming back and trying to, take control of the ship after what they did on that previous postseason, I think those, stars align that, maybe it was a guy like Kyrie Irving that Jason Tatum was kind of referring to. And I know Kyrie Irving was here years ago, but that was also with rookie Jason Tatum. And what is rookie Jason Tatum doing? He's learning and understanding. He doesn't want to learn and understand as a young guy to be around a know-it-all. And I don't think Jason Tatum is really trying to learn from Jaylen Brown. He probably was trying to learn from Kyrie Irving at the time. So I obviously understand that Jaylen Brown is the number one suspect here for those comments. But I am not leaving Kyrie Irving off that table. He has a big red circle on my list. Big red circle. I think I think it could have been him that he was referring to.
Josh, you're trying to cope, man. And it's okay. Like, I get it.
But am I wrong,
You're
though?
coping.
You're telling me I'm coping. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I think you're completely wrong. I think it's 1,000% a shot at Jaylen Brown. I think it's 1,000%. You can't
You
tell
don't
me.
think
You're going to go
anyone-
back like almost a decade and say it's about Kyrie Irving. Almost a decade at this point.
Okay, but what about Jason Tatum is he saying that doesn't also align with Kyrie Irving? It aligns to both. Again,
Why the hell would he be talking about Kyrie Irving a decade after he's left the team and he's beaten him in the finals? Who has he spent more time with in a locker room? Kyrie Irving or Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown, but isn't that the
I
same?
rest my case.
How does that rest your case?
What do you mean? He's been playing with Jaylen Brown for his entire career. Why would he be talking about a guy he played 2 seasons with?
Because
Almost
of
a decade ago.
the point we just made. As a young star, Jason Tatum was trying to learn from a guy like Kyrie Irving on that team, a veteran, a guy who won a championship, a guy who played with LeBron James. And Kyrie Irving, like we said, the stars align that he was also kind of a know-it-all guy. Aren't those the comments that Jason Tatum made? So again, I'm not saying it wasn't Jaylen Brown, it was Kyrie Irving. But you can't tell me that name is not off the table. You have to tell me it has to be on the table.
I think it's 1,000% off the table because I think the only guy it should be is Jaylen Brown. Like, I don't know how people are trying to say this isn't a shot at Jaylen Brown. He's off the team. He's talking about leadership. What was the big thing about Jaylen Brown? Oh, look, he's a great leader. Oh, what's he also? Really smart. Talking about being a know-it-all, thinking they're the smartest guy in the room. Like, he thought he generally knew everything about the game of basketball. Like, and I don't blame him. He's a great basketball player. He's a top 10 player in the world. But he also, like, has his flaws, and maybe he didn't want to acknowledge him. I just think it's really weird of you to go back to a guy who hasn't been here in a decade and he played 2 seasons with over the guy who he played his entire career with, and there was just a very big move made. Like, I would totally be on the board now that, okay, Tatum probably wanted Brown off the team, and that's why he's not here anymore. And the Celtics organization probably just wanted him out the building, which is why the return for Jaylen Brown was so piss poor, because they just needed to get rid of him. Like, it wasn't looking like wanting to get rid of him. And I think it's because of the dysfunction behind the scenes with the guy that he was, because he was arrogant, he was selfish, he was, quote unquote, the smartest guy in the room, and he was unwilling to take advice from anybody else.
I'm not saying you're wrong by saying it's Jaylen Brown. If you want to think it's Jaylen Brown 1,000%, go ahead. I'm just saying, like, I'm with you. I do. If you had to tell me if you had to ask me which one it was, I think it was Jaylen Brown. But that's
so then why even bring up Kyrie? Like, you're just, like, that's just you're coping, trying to find somebody else for it to be, Josh.
Possibility. I'm not saying it is. I'm not coping it is. I will literally say if you had to tell me to pick one right now, I'm saying it's Jaylen Brown. But the possibility of it being Kyrie, I think, has to be on the table. I think it absolutely does, because it fits. Sure, was it a long time ago? Yeah, that's why it may lean towards Jaylen Brown more. But you can't tell me that small chance, that one little star. You're telling me it's a 0% chance it was Kyrie?
Yes,
all of
zero. I didn't even think about Kyrie until you brought it up.
I think everything that Jason Tatum said also fits Kyrie. So
Kyrie's also a douche, but I don't think he's talking about Kyrie at all.
Okay, and that's completely fine. I don't think he was either, but I think there was maybe 1% chance it could have been. I'm not leaving it off the table.
I mean, does he have to say the guy who dribbles the ball off his left foot every single time to make me think it's Jaylen Brown?
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's where I'm willing to take the sneak distance now.
Earlier, I gotta hear a name come out, or
now that they are separated, and what we kind of know behind the scenes a little bit, that they were trying to get rid of Jaylen Brown. It was not let's improve on Jaylen Brown. It's let's get rid of Jaylen Brown. Like, this is going to be a problem. I am now of the camp where every single sneak diss that could be a diss, I'm taking as like verbatim. They're taking shots at each other. Like everything beforehand that we were willing to defend and pass off Josh because we thought there really wasn't that big of a problem with the Jays. I'm now doing a complete 180 where I'm like, okay, they were taking shots at each other through the media, and these were sneak disses. These were subliminal messages, and we should have knew them then, and we were just too naive and too hopeful that they could figure it out, and they obviously couldn't, and that's why the Jays have been separated. He's in Philadelphia with LeBron James.
That's why I said it was that's why I said, can I throw out a crazy idea out there? Was it not a crazy idea?
Yeah, and I hate the idea.
Okay, then.
And I'm mad we spent 8 minutes on it because I think it's a horrible idea.
You think it's a horrible idea?
Horrible idea.
Okay, fine.
You might have been the only person that ever. You might have been the one that thought about Kyrie Irving when he said that.
A wise man once told me to be delusional. I'll be delusional.
Fair enough. Speaking of it, since we're on the NBA, before we get to some Patriots talk, just real quick, LeBron to the 76ers. I know I made a video about it last week on the socials. There's no way this works out, right?
There's like a 2% chance I think it works out.
Like, defensively, they're gonna be flawed, and then like the ball is just not. There's not enough. Like the ball, not enough basketball to go around.
I think you're also banking so much on Embiid's health. What if Embiid isn't healthy? Okay, so now you're.
And that probably will benefit them. It's one less mouth to feed.
It is. I think they should have shipped Joel Embiid out a long time ago. I think they should have just given the keys to Tyrese Maxey at this point.
I mean, they pretty much already have it. I mean, again, not 76ers fans, just looking from afar. If they can figure it out, like, offensively and how to move the basketball and not be selfish, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I just don't see who sacrifices on this team. Like, you're really telling me Jaylen Brown's going to be okay being a fourth option?
That's the thing. On paper, if you were to ask me who's the best, if you were to ask me, if you were to ask me on paper who's the best player, you could throw out Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid's never healthy, so I can't really say. On paper, based off this past season, I think Jaylen Brown is the best player on that team, but with how the team is constructed and that Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid have been there longer, and now you throw LeBron in there, is Jaylen Brown going to be the number one option? No, he's more likely going to be the third, if anything. I think LeBron might be okay with being one of those last couple options, but I think if Joel Embiid is healthy, then you throw him above Jaylen Brown, and I think I think you throw Tyrese Maxey above him as well. So I think Jaylen Brown is going to be at most the second option again.
He seemed to be so pissed.
That's the thing. And he's thrown shots at Joel Embiid before.
And he's taking shots at LeBron James' kid. So, obviously there's beef there.
So if the production on the court is Joel Embiid is over Jaylen Brown, like, how is that going to feel off the court? Jaylen Brown's easily going to think that he's the best player on that team. But he's
Curry thinks he's the best player on that team.
I don't hate that.
If he thought he was the best player on the Celtics and Tatum's there, nobody on the 76ers is better than Tatum.
True.
He thinks he's the best player on that team. And it's just hilarious because he really wanted, and I'm not inventing this, like this tweet's been going around, like he wanted to be Batman, and guess what, buddy? Now you're Alfred. Like, it is so funny. Like,
not even Robin.
No, he's not even Robin anymore. He's not. He's downgraded from Robin to Alfred. It really is like, I don't want to say poetic justice because I have nothing against the guy. I wish he was still a Boston Celtic. Like, I loved him and his time here. But it really is like the grass isn't always greener on the other side, pal. Now, not only are you in Philadelphia, which is just a terrible city to be in, now you're not even the second option. Like, you're not even the second bona fide second option. You're maybe the third option. Possibly the fourth option. And there's quotes coming out that he's going to have no ego, do whatever he needs to do to win. Like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, buddy.
Yeah,
like, there's no way you kept saying, like, you sacrificed your whole career, and then you're like, I don't want to sacrifice anymore, and now you have to sacrifice more than you ever have in your entire career. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work.
I don't think it is either. I mean, if the whole narrative was that the Jays have beef with each other, you really don't think he's going to have beef with Joel Embiid, a guy he's thrown shots with, LeBron James, a guy he's thrown shots with, and alongside two other young stars who want to grow and are also ball dominant. All 5 players on that team are ball dominant. You're telling me there's not going to be any issue? Like,
it's not going to work. There's no way it works.
In fact, LeBron James isn't going to live in Philadelphia. He's going to be in New York.
I don't really care about that. Like, what did you want to fly to the games? Whatever.
Like, don't you think that's like a small factor that, like, all right, this guy's committed to your team, but he won't even live in the city?
Oh, like, everybody knows this is a ring chasing LeBron move. Like, and I don't blame him. Like, go win as many rings as you can.
No, wait,
like,
what, 2 years at most?
Yeah, 2 years, $8 million deal is what he signed. Like, I don't blame him. Like, go ring chase. I don't know if I would go to ring chase at Philadelphia, But do what you want to do with LeBron. Like, you want to fly from New York to the games. I couldn't care less. Like, what do you do?
What if like LeBron came here but wouldn't live in Boston? Like I know you don't care because he's in Philly and living in New York, but would you care if he was living in New York but played for Boston?
I mean, I'm not looking at LeBron going to Philly or coming here as like a loyalty move. Like, it's not. He's here to win rings. Like, if he doesn't want to live in Boston, I don't really care.
That's fair. That's completely
Like,
fair.
he's not here to like be a part of the city and the community and give like no, he's here to win a basketball ring.
He's not in Philly for the brotherly love.
No, he's not. He's there to try to win a basketball ring to beef up his legacy against Michael Jordan.
To even back up what you're saying, Philadelphia was not on his list until they trade for Jaylen Brown. So it's not that he even doesn't even want to be in Philly or be part of the culture. He just wants to be there because now the Philadelphia 76ers have this stacked starting lineup that he wants to be a part of.
Yeah, so like I couldn't care less if he moves there or not. It is what it is. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think it'll play out well.
Do you think? Can I ask you one thing? How do you think Maxey and Edgecombe, the two young guys like the future, how do you think they're going to?
Edgecombe's gonna get screwed the most. Like, he's gonna be the one that has to sacrifice a ton. Like, it's gonna stunt his development.
I'm trying to think of a world like, does LeBron let Edgecombe like over him? I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. Like, LeBron was okay with taking the minimum, letting Luka kind of take over with the Lakers. So like maybe, but again, there's too many guys to do that. Like, he'll do it with Maxey, Embiid, maybe even Jaylen Brown. But Edgecombe, you're telling me LeBron James is going to be the fifth option?
No, he's not going to go. You're not going to see LeBron James standing in the corner every possession. It's just not going to happen.
Especially if it's a ring-chasing move. You're telling me he's not here to develop the young players. He's here to try and win another ring. He's trying to get that fifth one.
And you think he wants to get carried to the ring as well? No.
No.
That's going to be held against him.
You think he's going to let VJ Edgecombe take the wheel over him? Hell no.
Exactly. Like, he is very self-aware of what his legacy is and what, like, how he's viewed all time. And, like, he wants to be the greatest of all time. He thinks he's the greatest of all time, but he knows that public opinion probably sways more towards Michael Jordan, and he wants to change that. And getting carried to a ring on the 76ers is not going to change that for him. So, obviously, he wants to be a big part of what they do offensively.
How much pressure do you think is under Nick Nurse for this team?
Is it so much pressure on him?
He can't get it done with this team, this absolutely stacked team. Like, how hot is his seat going to be?
I mean, I do not envy the job. I mean, he's a great coach. He pisses me off though, just because like
great
the way
in Toronto.
Exactly. Pretty much why he pisses me off. But like he has his work cut out for him. I do not envy his position whatsoever. The way he's going to have to balance those personalities, get guys to buy in and sacrifice. Like, that's a really tough job to do. It's not an X's and O's job. That's a managing people job. And managing people is not easy. So like, I don't envy the job Nick Nurse has to do whatsoever.
It's hard to manage a guy like LeBron. You can't really, I mean,
yeah. Not only is it like all the personalities, it's also you adding in LeBron James, who's like the biggest personality.
Yeah, and JJ Redick did an all right job in Los Angeles, mainly because the two of them are like besties outside of work and they have a pod together. But like, when has a coach ever been over LeBron? Like, LeBron's always kind of like the leader, the player coach. Like, the coach doesn't tell LeBron what to do. LeBron tells you what to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do not envy the job at all. I mean, usually LeBron James coming to your team is like a kiss of death as your coaching career, or at least your current coaching job. Unless you're Eric Spoelstra, you survive. But pretty much everybody else, Ty Lue, Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel, the other guy in Cleveland before Ty Lue was there. I can't think of his name. Like, they're all just, he gets rid of him and finds a guy he likes. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. A Jaylen Brown, a 76ers Celtics playoff series would feed families. It'd be awesome. To see Jaylen Brown back in the Garden wearing a 76ers uniform would be weird, but it is what it is. You got to move on. I've accepted it. About a month ago, the trade happened. Curious to see what the Boston Celtics look like this upcoming season. But a team that is very close to being around the corner, Josh, and playing real games are the New England Patriots. Today was the first full day of like actual pads of training camp. Some interesting things have been going on in training camp. Most of it has just been Gonzalez's contract extension talk, which I don't want to say I don't care about, but it's like the deal is going to happen when the deal is going to happen. Like, they're waiting for Devin Witherspoon to get paid because Gonzo wants to be the highest paid corner. So at the end of the day, like, that deal will happen at some point. I'm not too worried about it. So like, good on the Crafts for actually opening up the paycheck, like the checkbook, and paying somebody what they're worth.
I like that and hate that from what Robert Kraft said about no, they gave him an offer for the highest paid player in franchise history, mainly because obviously we now know that they have offered it to him. So it's not we can confirm it's not a Patriots versus Gonzo thing. It's most likely a Gonzo versus Devon Witherspoon type of thing where, he wants to get paid. He wants to be the highest paid cornerback in the league. But I also don't like what Robert Kraft said just because it's a bad look for Gonzo. He kind of threw Gonzo under the bus a little bit.
I mean, it was a brilliant move by him. It was so smart because then he gets like, oh, we've offered him the most money in like NFL history for that position. He hasn't accepted it yet, and then it's all the pressure's on Gonzo, and then he has to go like diffuse the situation in a sense. Like, brilliant move by Kraft.
Well, yeah, but Gonzo said he wanted to keep in the media. Even Mike Vrabel in a press conference a while ago said he was also going to keep Gonzo's contract talks to himself. But so doesn't that make Robert Kraft, like, sure, you can say it's a good move by Kraft saying that we've now offered it to him, so it's up to him. But doesn't that make Robert Kraft look like a bad person for putting contract extensions out in the public? I think it does.
I mean, using the media, but using the media as a way to like to get leverage in contract negotiations has been going on forever. Like, he's not doing anything new. He's not.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want your contract extension.
No,
talks
like I'd be upset if I was Gonzo. Like, hey, I thought we were gonna keep this behind the scenes, but it's also like the deal's gonna happen. I'm not too worried about it whatsoever. Like, if you take Kraft at face value, which I do, in that situation, the deal is gonna happen at some point. It's just at this point waiting out Witherspoon.
Yeah, that's why I said I like it and I hate it. I like it because we now know it's up to Gonzo at this point. But I also
it's a little bit of a douche move for him to be like,
Robert Kraft kind of threw him under the bus. Come on, like a little bit. Like, come on, like, come on, man.
No, you're not wrong at all. He absolutely did a little bit.
Kicked him in the nuts a little bit.
Yeah, I do like though that Gonzo's out there participating in practice. So again, that shows the deal is like right there.
It sounds like he wants to be here. Do you think, by any chance, we think Gonzo's waiting for Witherspoon? Do you think there's a little bit of a flip flop? Do you think there's any chance Witherspoon is waiting for Gonzo to sign first, and we're
I was reading reports that Witherspoon and the Seahawks aren't even close. So like okay. I don't think he's waiting on Gonzo.
I was thinking that it could be like we're at a stalemate right now, and like we're trying to see who will break first to sign their extension, just so the other one can get more money.
No, and they have the same agent too, so I'm sure it'll take a while, but it'll get done before the season, I'm assuming.
I think it will be as well. He looks like he wants to be here. He's out there participating. He hasn't, said that he doesn't want to play here. He hasn't thrown a shot at anyone. He literally said, too, that he loves Robert Kraft. The only thing is that you want to keep in the media. So I think Gonzo's here to stay. I think he'll sign that extension. For how much money? Well, it'll be over $110 million after Denzel Ward signed. Correct?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, probably like 120 or something like that.
Yeah, because that kind of set the floor. Because if Denzel Ward is getting paid that much, then without a doubt, Gonzo is going to get paid more than that. And so that's the floor. Gonzo will at least be paid $110 million.
Yeah, he's going to get paid what he deserves. And then next year, hopefully they don't, try to nickel and dime Drake May taking a team-friendly deal.
I think you have to. I think once the offseason starts, I think you have to immediately you should be talking about how much money you're going to pay him now.
Yeah.
Like that should be the conversation. The second the offseason starts, you should have an offer on the table for Drake May. 100%. Absolutely. The second that clock hits 12 a.m., you should be at his doorstep with a big fat check and just handing it to him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Don't
even play the games. Like, I'm sure they play games with Gonzo a little bit. Don't even play the games with Drake May. Just give him what he wants.
Don't. Like, you can offer you can give him an offer. If he denies it and wants more, give him more. Like, you can try. I wouldn't blame the Patriots for trying to sign Drake May for as cheap as they can, because obviously you want cheaper players.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Exactly, that's their job. But if Drake May says, no, I want more money, don't even try to negotiate. Like, give him, if Drake May has another season like he just did last year, you give him the money.
What do you expect from Drake May this year?
Like, his performance alone, not the team.
Like, I expect him to be, like, I expect less turnovers, more touchdowns than last year. That's what I expect.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously you do. That's just the expectation.
From a very, like, little, like, not giving you an exact number, like this and that. I'm sure we'll do that later. But right now, sitting like first day of padded practices, I'm expecting more touchdowns, less interceptions, and more yards.
I mean, yeah, he's still young, so you'd obviously expect him to do that no matter what, just as, general growth. I think as long as he has similar numbers to what he did last year, alongside with, a little bit of less turnovers, more tutties, more yards. If he can get into the range of top 5 MVP voting, that's my expectation. I think he should be top 5 in MVP voting again.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I don't know how much of the training camp stuff you've seen, but he has been. I mean, it ended today with an AJ Brown touchdown over Christian Gonzalez in the back left corner of the end zone. But the thing that shocked me more, and I know previously when we've talked about this, I've been like, just trade him away. You don't really need him. Keyshawn Booty's been awesome in training camp. And
I'm so against trading him. My God, do I love this.
And I know, like, I've been, you don't need him, trade him away, get something back that you could use. But I'm kind of flip my tune here. And I know I always say don't fall for training camp orders because we've gone through the N'Keal Harry years, the Tyquan Thornton years of like, oh, this guy's great in practice, one of the best practice players I've ever seen. And then he sucks in the field. But we've seen Keyshawn Booty produce on the field, and maybe he'll get that boost with having A.J. Brown opposite of him. And, like, that's what he needs. And then you also have Romeo Doubs, who I haven't heard a single thing about whatsoever in training camp. So, like, hearing that, like, the first day, like, 40-yard bomb to Keyshawn Booty. And then again today, like, Keyshawn Booty touchdown. Yesterday, 2 days ago, Keyshawn Booty touchdown. Maybe this is a guy you hold on to. Even though, like, he's in trade talks.
Can you play my favorite soundbite?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
I have been so against trading Keyshawn Booty. The second he was in trade talks, I'm like, why are we doing this? I love Booty. Thank you. I do. I love him. He's great. He's my favorite receiver on this team. I think ever since he was in trade talks, it was such a dumb idea because I think under the impression that you have A.J. Brown, if you can just have Keyshawn Booty be the second or the third option, I think he does so much better. Because the issue with the Patriots wide receivers cores is that, we never really establish who's a 1, 2, and a 3, aside from like Stephon Diggs last year. But other than that, it was just kind of like, it didn't really feel like anyone had a specific role on the receiver room this year. But if you can establish that A.J. Brown maybe it's just the slot guy or maybe just to get you first downs, Romeo Doubs is kind of a slot. Even you could throw maybe even him in the slot. I wouldn't really do that with him, but then you have Keyshawn Booty as your deep threat. I think if you can establish Keyshawn Booty as your third wide receiver, I think he has such an incredible year. And I'm not saying incredible year is like 1,000+ yards, but for a third option, even if a second option, if he can even overtake Romeo Doubs, I think he has a fantastic season as a second or third option. I've been saying this, Booty is going to have a breakout year. I said it. I said he was going to do it last year. I was wrong. He still did good last year, but he didn't have a breakout season. I 1,000% think we are going to see a breakout season of Keyshawn Booty right here, and I think he very well could be in discussion to take over Romeo Doubs in that second option slot.
I mean, it'd be a real shame if they go and pay Romeo Doubs and Keyshawn Booty's just better. But that's not like something you should be too like. That's not something you get mad about. Like a player develops and takes a leap, that'd be great.
If I know we didn't do an episode last week, but if you had to ask me, like, who are some of my top guys to watch during training camp, Booty would be right in that top 3. Like,
obviously, Will Campbell's up there.
I'd throw Will Campbell in there. Obviously, A.J. Brown is in there as well. But, like, I'm throwing Keyshawn Booty over Drake May to watch in training camp. I think, obviously, people want to see the connection of Drake May and A.J. Brown. But I think you want to see more of the A.J. Brown side since we know Drake May can be great. I really just wanted to see Keyshawn Booty do spectacular, and he did do spectacular. And he was asked in training camp today if he wants to be here in New England, and he was like, yeah. So he wants to be here. He wants to be great, and I think we should absolutely keep him. And I think the Patriots are stupid if they trade him.
I don't know if they're stupid, but I've been thoroughly surprised and shocked.
That might be me being very passionate about him, calling them stupid, but I think it would not. I don't think it's a good idea at all to trade him. I've been saying that since he was in trade rumors. I don't think it's a good idea. I think you're giving up a lot of potential to give up Keyshawn Booty. I think you really have something here with him.
Fair. And I know I've kind of flipped my tune a little bit where I was very much just trade him, you don't need him, see if you can improve upon that position. But if he's playing like this and he has the rapport with Drake May and the chemistry, why split that up? And if he can benefit as the guy who gets the third option, he's happy as that in that role, yeah, keep him at this point. He's playing well. He's got the connection. He knows the offense. But I'm way more concerned about what the offensive line is going to look this upcoming season and like the pass protection because Drake May was getting lit up in that Super Bowl. So obviously you need to see Will Campbell take that step and get back to what he was in the middle of the season when he wasn't injured.
What's your pressure level at with Will Campbell this season? Like if he has a bad season, are you trading him after this season?
I don't know if I'm
Or you benching
trading
him, or
him.
you saying like you're done, like you're not the guy anymore. We need to get another guy.
I think you just move him over to right tackle. I think you
Okay.
take him away from left tackle.
Okay. I'm not ready to move off him yet. I think people jumped the gun way too early saying that we need to trade him as a rookie. I think Will Campbell is the type of guy who does want to do better. I think he was extremely upset with some of his performances last year. We saw him, storm out of locker rooms, not address the media very well, and then he addresses the media and then apologizes for that. He gets upset. He's a guy who gets upset a lot when he does not perform well, and that's what I like about him. Is that when he messes up, he has a mentality of I need to do better. I know I need to do better. He doesn't just come out and be like, "Is what it is. Played terribly. I'll do better next time." Like I liked that he didn't address the media after that poor performance. I like that because he knows he did bad. He addresses it, and he knows he needs to do better. So I think Will Campbell is a guy who wants to do better, and I think we might see that from Will Campbell. I think we'll definitely see a better performance than we did last year from Will Campbell because
I'm hopeful of an improvement. I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful as well because I think he wants it. He's a guy who wants it. That's what he shows me.
Yeah, and again, it's just protect the franchise, keep Drake May on his feet. And I'm not too worried about that. Like what they do in pass protection, maybe Trevor Henderson could take a big boost as a pass blocker. That'd be great. Also, if he could just not run into the ass of his offensive lineman as much this season, I'd be pretty happy. But these are nitpicky things. These are very nitpicky things. July 30th, we've only seen one real practice because they wore pads today.
I don't want to take off too much pressure on him with this one excuse, but the guy was a rookie last year. It's still so much to learn. And my point again, he wants it very badly. I think he's willing to learn from those little nitpicky mistakes, and I think we're going to see a lot less of those this season.
Yeah, and I hope we see that, just like the mental errors, and hopefully they start fast. It's a very tough schedule to start with. It's a shame we don't have Sarah here because I'm sure she's been literally, maybe because she's just so happy that Patriots training camp is back and we're right around the corner from our first preseason game in a few weeks.
Is she at Patriots training camp?
No, she's on the vineyard still. She's home. But I think she's just so excited she can't function.
That's what she says, but I don't know. Are we buying that? Do we know she's on the vineyard? Do we have proof she's on the vineyard? She could very well just be watching some Drake May right now.
Maybe. Or Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence highlights, probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, she can do that from the vineyard, though.
Fair.
She can do that whenever she wants.
But I think that's where we're going to end it today, Josh. I know not the longest episode, but we touched on a little bit of everything today, I think. The Red Sox deadline. Obviously, we're not the biggest MLB. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm the biggest baseball guy, so I couldn't give you a name. I can tell you what I want, though, for position-based, and you can plug and play if you're the
same thing.
Yeah, if you're the MLB guy. That's why that conversation went a little short. Got some Tatum Brown beef in there as well. Some really early Patriots training camp thoughts to wrap up the show here today.
Let me ask you one last quick question. We don't have to go into a deep conversation. One last quick question. Just fire off. Expectation for the Red Sox for the rest of the season. Where do you expect
I expect them to make one or two moves here at the deadline. I think they bring in a shortstop or a catcher. Maybe both. And maybe they get another arm of some sort. And then I believe that wild card, if they could, wild card is real. It's real. The AL is really bad.
I think the wild card is the expectation at this point after the run you just went on and that you're now buying. I think that if you will make the wild card, failure. Has to be.
Failure. I mean, it's a failure because you're going into the season telling us you have World Series expectations. So right away you're setting the bar okay, they should be in the World Series, ALCS, ALDS. They need to make it further than last year to obviously keep moving up that mountain until you reach the mountaintop. But with how bad the season started and how historically bad they were before July, it was kind of just hands up. And I'm at the point now where the expectation got so low and it was so dire of a situation that then it became just make the wild card. And now that's feasible and should happen. They're 5 games above 500 right now. I think they're 56 and 51 on the season. You were very well in that range for that wild card spot.
And and the narrative changed after that run. It changed. And now that you are saying that you're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline, and you already have with the Curtis Mead trade, you're now telling yourself that you're competing. You're telling everyone that you are now competing. So if you don't even make the playoffs, you don't make that wild card.
You
That's a
don't trade for
failure.
Curtis Mead if you're not contending. Like that's like,
You don't.
and as much as that stinks that he's injured, like you're contending, like you care. And I'm super happy that they took that gift of a win streak they went on in the month of July to get them back in the season, and they didn't squander it, and they made a real move.
And if it fails, if they don't make that wild card, then that offseason, lockout or no lockout, we're going to hear the conversations of, all right, what do we do with Craig Breslow because he couldn't put together a roster that made a wild card, and then what do you do with Chad Tracy? You give him that manager job, or do you look for someone else?
I think Chad's earned the manager job like the full time.
Yeah.
I think you do it in the season. I think you see how everything wraps up. I mean, if he falls apart down the stretch or like gets pans in the playoffs, maybe you think twice about it.
You got to see.
I think he's earned the job.
Performance. I think you should see a little bit of a playoff performance. If you had to ask me right now, yeah, I'll give it to him. I'm like 90% on it.
Yeah,
but yeah, that little 10%. I'd like to see a little bit of a playoff, some playoff action from Dick Tracy.
All right. Well, by this time next week, we will have our full final Red Sox roster. Be a few more days into Patriots training camp. See if the Gonzo contract's broken. Not much going on with the Boston Celtics. Maybe we have a pop shot back from Jaylen Brown. And the Boston Bruins are about as interesting as watching paint dry right now. So that's what we're going to talk about them if you are a diehard Bruins fan. But that's going to do it for episode 57. Yeah, sorry. Skillings is in Maine right now. He's having a great time. That's episode 57 of the Duck Boat Dispatch. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, be a friend, tell a friend, share with a friend. Sharing is caring. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Duck Boat Dispatch. Make sure you like, repost, share with your friends there as well. Comment, interact with the post. It really goes a long way. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure you can listen there as well. Follow along for the pod there as well if you want more of an audio version of that. We'll be back next week with episode 58 of the Duck Boat Dispatch, talking all things Boston sports from your Boston sports fans.